There's no reason to become alarmed, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your flight. By the way, is there anyone on board who knows how to fly a plane?
Welcome to Avoiding Real Estate Turbulence podcast. This is your pilot, John Lafferty, with Century 21 Town and Country.
And your co-pilot, Tony Abate, with Ross Mortgage. And we are your real estate pilots. Our job is to be your real estate advocate and also make sure you are educated about the buying and selling process. We'll keep you informed throughout until we get you safely closed.
In today's real estate market, buyers want updated kitchens and baths, so making an informed and smart decision on a remodel can increase the return on your investment, whether you plan to sell in a few months or in a few years. I'm so glad we're able to have Alyssa Fair here with us today from Hard Rock Stoneworks, have the opportunity to speak with her about this very topic. Welcome.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Alyssa.
So I thought one of the things that we would talk about is when somebody's thinking about kitchen remodel, bathroom remodel, how do they start the process of walking down that road? Is it a phone call? Is it, hey, you need to come in and talk with somebody at our shop? How do we get started?
Well, first you'd probably have to decide if you're just going to do kind of like a facelift or if you're going to do a full remodel. So a full gut job, or if you just kind of want to spruce it up a little bit. We do cabinets and countertops. So if you want to dive more into a full refresh with like the flooring and all that good stuff too, then you might have to hire an actual contractor. But we do cabinets and countertops, which is mostly what you would want to just freshen up if you're trying to sell your home, is what most people will look at. The trends for a while have been kind of that gray and white look. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, but pops of color kind of get you more into a personal niche, you know? Mm-hmm. Because some people might like blue, but the person that's buying the house might not like blue. So staying neutral is really good for selling, but in terms of buying and redoing, definitely do what you love because you're there to be there for a long time.
Makes sense. What are some of the different products, countertop-wise, that Hard Rock Stoneworks offers and can install?
We offer anything from natural stuff to man-made. So natural being marble, granite, quartzite, sandstone, limestone, soapstone. There's so many different options that are out there. A lot of people don't know the difference between. And then man-made stuff being quartz, which is huge. It's been big for a while, but the new stuff on the market now is this porcelain. So a lot of people are asking about it, which is good, but it's definitely new. So nobody really wants to be the guinea pig with anything. But it's been around for a few years and people are getting more comfortable with it. So you'll start to see that come up a lot.
Talk to us about porcelain. I have yet to really come across a porcelain top in a home yet. So tell me about the durability and what you do to ensure that, and I guess thickness and how you determine cost, price per square foot, I guess.
So the normal thickness of a countertop is 1.25 inches, which is 3 cm. You'll see that in 90% of the houses. But actually, America is different, of course, than everybody else. So anything in Europe or Spain, Italy, all that stuff like that is 2 cm is the standard, which is 3/4 inch thick. So you'll see that the 3 cm look, it'll last, but the 2 cm is kind of coming back. It's the European style, and the porcelain actually only comes 1/2 inch thick. They're starting to produce it in the 2 cm, but the porcelain is different from quartz in the fact that it's more heat resistant. So quartz hit that niche of the marble looking where you don't have the maintenance with the staining and the etching and all that stuff, but it didn't withstand heat. So porcelain looks more like marble, withstands heat up to 2,000 degrees. So you could actually, take a blowtorch and cook some shrimp on there if you wanted to. But it's not a through product, which means like with quartz or marble, you'll see that pattern in the edge. With porcelain, you won't. It's kind of like a tattoo on the surface. So a lot of people are either doing it thin and having that European look, or they're going to build it up, where you kind of build your cabinets up with plywood and then you take that material down and build like a false thickness so you can make it whatever you want.
Wow. So when I think of porcelain, this is new to me as well. I've not seen this in anything. This is kind of interesting. Yeah, I think of, the material that a bathroom sink is made out of,
right,
or what a toilet is made out of, for crying out loud. And I'm sure there's more to, are these solid color things? Do they have texture in them? I mean, what kind of things are out there for porcelain?
You can get it in like a velvet finish, which is kind of like a matte finish, or you can get it in a high gloss, which that's another thing too. The quartz, it's polished, but it's like lacklustrous compared to a natural product, where porcelain is more of a high gloss. So you can get it to look like a marble or like a soapstone, but it's a man-made product, so basically they can kind of make it look like anything.
Wow. So are there a lot of choices as far as, I guess we call any type of lines and things in it, movements, I guess?
Yeah, movement's a good word. I mean, with granites, you'll get more into like that speckly look. So a lot of people would they call it the Home Depot or Lowe's feel, because when you go into like a big box store, you kind of have your limited choices. It doesn't have that speckly look like granite does. It's going to be more of a solid or a marbly, like thick vein pattern type thing. And it's cost effective for the material, but if you choose to build it up, that's when it becomes more expensive because you're paying for the cabinet build up plus the fabricator labor to miter the edge is what it's called. So it, like I said, it is a very new thing though. A lot of new builders are doing it.
Wow.
Does it come in one piece like Corian where the sink is attached, or is it just like a normal cut?
You would still do like an undermount sink like you would for granite. Laminate, you would do it like a overmount or a drop-in is what they would call it. Some people still do that with granite, but drop-ins I would say are more obsolete at this point for stone.
Wow.
Porcelain's actually really big too for countertops. It's new, but you can use it for shower walls, which is huge because it's thin, or wall facades like exterior. It doesn't sun fade like quartz does. So those are the major attractions to it as well.
Yeah, this may be an unfair question because there's quality things all over the range, but where does this rank price wise with other countertop options?
Well, you're going to start usually, you'll see like those granite places that say $29 a square foot. That's for like one color that they're trying to get rid of, So realistically, you're probably looking at like a $39 a square foot. On the low end, $45 for a high end granite company. Quartz typically starts at about $55 and goes up to $120 range. Porcelain, you're probably going to start at about $60, but you'll end at about $90 or $100. That's for the variation of material, but that's when, like I was saying, with the buildup and all that stuff, you can get into more labor costs.
So it's competitive, though. It's in the hunt with those other higher end. Okay, interesting.
Is there many movement options, or is porcelain just a solid color, solid white, solid gray, or something like that?
Anywhere from solid white to solid black, but you can get like a Calcutta looking marble or a Bianco Carrera looking marble that are in the porcelain colors. Like Carrera is a more popular marble name, I would say, but you can get into that stuff, but nothing speckly. Like your new Venetian gold granite that you'll see a lot of places.
Okay. So you're seeing some more installs like that in kitchens and in bathrooms, and I know that you guys also are doing quite a few outdoor countertops for barbecues and different things outside, which I wasn't aware of, which is great. And I know you're doing that with a lot of new construction. But if somebody has a nice backyard and they want to do something like that, is porcelain a good thing to use as a countertop outside?
It is, because it doesn't sun fade. So you can't put quartz outside, but natural stone is natural stone. So it comes from the earth. It's not gonna fade outside. But quartz is made of, it's mostly it's recycled stone basically, but it has a 10% resin that binds it together, and the resin mixture is what will cause it to fade or yellow over time. Where porcelain, it's like more compact of a surface, and it's actually made in a kiln at a certain degree of temperature, so that's why it withstands heat more, doesn't sun fade, stuff like that. But the textured stone is huge right now because everyone's into that rustic industrial style, which I love. But a lot of people are drawn to that, which is a whole nother thing, the textured. When you're going to tag material, typically you think it's polished and smooth and shiny, but the more granite warehouses you walk through now, you'll see that textured option, where a lot of people were doing the two-tone kitchens. Now they're doing two textured kitchens made of a leathered island and a polished perimeter.
What kind of an island?
A leathered, they call it leathered or brushed is like the finish to it. So
Okay.
you'll actually feel the grooves in the stone versus
Wow.
a polish.
Okay. So it's still a stone material. With
Correct,
a
yeah.
leather wow, I've never seen that. I got to get out more.
Well, actually, your dad was kind enough to bring some samples of the leathered finish as well as the gloss, and I have to say that between the both of them, I don't have a preference. I think they both are really neat and have their own positives. So I find them both really, really attractive options depending on what you want to do.
The men tend to like the leathered finish. It's just more rugged, I guess. It's really popular for like the man cave or the bar or stuff like that. Because women, they see it and they're like, oh, I don't want to clean that. You know, but
Men could care less.
yeah, but it's a cool option right now that's out there.
With the leathered countertop, doesn't affect durability. You still put the sealant on it just like you would on the gloss, and so same sort of. And talk about your sealant that you guys have specifically that you use that people don't have to continually put it on year after year.
There are two different kinds of sealers out there, and it's really important. Is there's topical sealers, and then there's impregnating sealers. So topical sealers, they just sit on the surface. They wear away over time. That's why a lot of places, they're cheaper. So places will say you have to reseal it every year or whatever because they want you to pay for that to come back. But impregnating sealer, it soaks into the pores of the stone and it binds to those molecules. And we seal it in the shop before it goes out. So we have a warranty on that you shouldn't have to reseal your countertops, except for marble. I mean, marble is a softer stone, so you should do that in general.
Do you also have to seal porcelain?
Nope. Porcelain and quartz, since they're man-made, that resin in the quartz is what binds it together, so it's non-porous. Porcelain is just a ultra-compact surface. There's nothing that... Basically, if you put sealer on those two products, you would just see a buildup on the surface of it because it doesn't have anything to soak into.
Okay.
You'll know your tops are sealed too if you do the water test. So if you put a couple drops of water on the countertop and they soak right in, it's not sealed. If they beat up on the surface, then you'll know that it's sealed.
Oh boy, if they soak right in, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily. I have some knowledge about different stones and things, but I don't have a great knowledge of the differences of soapstone. What is that? Where does that come from? And quartzite and quartz. What are the difference between those two?
So on a natural scale, they call it the Mohs hardness scale, and that's through the Marble Institute of America. Diamond being the hardest, which is at a 10. You have like your sandstone and your soapstone, which those basically are at the top of the surface, closest to, the earth. And those are at a 2. So they're soft. They scratch easier. You can scratch soapstone and basically buff it out with sandpaper. That's how soft it is. Wow. Then you get into your soft marbles, which are at a 3 on the hardness scale. So your Bianco Carrera, Calcutta, stuff like that. And then you get into like that gray area of the 4s and 5s, which is really feldspar and dolomite. But we in the industry call it hard marbles because most people don't know that terminology. And then 6 is a granite. So that's your typical, what most people are shopping for. That's great in your kitchen. And then quartzites are at a 7. So that's the same durability as quartz. Basically, that just means that's compressed deeper into the earth. They mine it further out of the ground. So it's denser. It withstands scratches and stains better than any other surface. But you still have to worry about etching. That's the one thing with every natural stone that you have to worry about, which just means if you leave something super acidic sitting on there for a long period of time,
like a lemon,
it can, lemon, even alcohol. Like if you were to spill alcohol, it wears away at the polish, which a lot of people think is the sealer. So they think they need their tops resealed. You really just need it repolished.
Huh.
So quartzites are huge for kitchens right now because a lot of people want the marbly look, which is kind of what you get with a quartzite, but it's just more dense. And the slabs are usually bigger because they're more durable. So like those huge islands that are happening right now in kitchens, a lot of people are going for quartzite.
So quartz and quartzite essentially the same, but the quartzite is a denser material from deeper.
Yeah, and the major difference between quartz and quartzite is that quartz is man-made. Quartzite is natural.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Where do you find quartzite? Where is it mined from?
Spain, Italy, India, stuff like that. Those are the huge places. There's some quarries in the United States, like the Vermont quarry is a huge one for marbles and quartzites, but not a ton in the U.S.
Is there a lot of variation in color with quartzite that you find, or is it pretty?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Okay.
It mostly ranges in those creamy, white, gray tones with like not a ton of variation, but there's some crazy ones that you'll see. Probably the most popular quartzite is Taj Mahal. It's more of like a creamy golden color, and it's as expensive as it sounds.
I want to know who comes up with the names for these stones.
Wouldn't that be
how much
fun?
are they getting paid to do it?
It would be so much fun. I've always wanted to go see a quarry, like go overseas and see how they take this out of the earth.
Yeah.
I hear it's interesting.
That would be really cool to see, and how they preserve when they're removing these large pieces, how they get them out without cracking them or anything.
It's a huge thing because you think about they got to go over the water on the seas and then travel through land all the way up to Michigan, you know. That's why, I mean, sometimes if you ever go to Miami or whatever, you'll see some more exotic looking stuff because it doesn't have to transport all the way up here. But
So they have stuff down there that they sell that we never see up here.
some more colorful, like I was saying, the 2cm stuff, the 2cm marbles, you'll see a lot more in California and Miami because it's on the water where it doesn't have to get all the way to us. So
Port of entry.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm curious about soapstone. I'm not familiar with it. I don't think I've come across much of it in houses. Maybe I haven't, just didn't know it. Can you talk a little bit about where they find it, what shade, colors, and things that it comes in, or movements? I guess I'm not that familiar with it.
there is a quarry. I'm not sure where it is, but there's one in the U.S. that is a soapstone quarry. I want to say it might even be the Vermont one, but there is it's usually is like a blue-gray tone. Sometimes darker. You'll hear like Indian soapstone is a dark navy color, but typically your soapstone is going to be like a mid-range blue-gray color. It's never polished. It's always honed. So you'll have like the smooth finish, but it's just not glossy. And you probably will more see it on bathrooms or fireplaces because anytime you walk into a fabricator and you want soapstone in your kitchen, we'll try to talk you out of it.
Is that because of the wear and tear?
Because
that
the
happens
scratching you actually, it's kind of like if you own a microfiber couch, like when you wipe one way, you see a different tone to it, and you wipe another way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because when you get it wet, it gets like 10 shades darker. So if you have water, it will soak in even if it's sealed. It's that soft. And you can actually, if you put mineral oil over it, like if you were to like do it on a piece of wood or something, you'll see it darken, and it'll get darker and darker over time. So people will try to match backsplash or their floors or whatever to this shade of soapstone, which is the slab, and then they'll get it in and start using it. It turns darker and darker. So it's just, if you're prepared for soapstone, that's fine, but you just have to understand what comes with it, I guess.
I didn't even know that was ever used or even considered for countertops. And I can see, that, especially in high use areas, it's not advised.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
So like fireplace, surround, and hearth, that's a perfect application because you're not really using it per se as far as functionality goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Jon and I were talking a couple shows ago about, the lists that come out, what's in, what's out. You see this kind of thing all the time. New materials, new textures. The whole porcelain thing is new to me. Maybe there's not an easy answer, but how do you kind of draw that conclusion of, oh, this thing's going to last for 5 minutes and it's gone, or this is going to have some staying power? Is there any magic formula for that kind of thing? I'd love to know if there is.
I mean, everybody's into the light, airy, bright kitchens right now, which is great. But it's like if you wear white pants to an Italian restaurant, it's probably not a good idea. You know what I mean?
Good point.
So basically, I don't want to say I'm not the cleanest person. I'm just saying I have 2 big dogs. I have a fiance that works in heating and cooling. His hands are always dirty. Like, just know your lifestyle.
Sure.
What is going to be longevity wise for you as far as functionality goes. Because what looks good might not be what works good for you. I would say like the mid-tone kitchens that everybody's ripping out. I mean, yeah, I don't like the oak look cabinets, but it just depends on what you need for your space. So I wouldn't say go with the trend necessarily all the time. Go with what you like, what works for you. And if, like I said, if you're selling your house, maybe you do want to go with the trend because it'll help you sell it faster. But I always say, like, just do what works for you. It's not my house; it's your house when I'm selling it.
Yeah.
And I think it depends too, right? On and I know I've talked to some people who do this, and they say, well, are you going to sell in 6 months? Is this something that you're going to be here for a long time with? And give advice two different, depending on what you're going to do. If you're going to sell, hey, then you should install for the trend that's currently in. And if not, then exactly what you said, install for what you want because you're going to be using it.
Right. And I mean, the functionality thing, like I was saying, with quartz, you can pretty much never go wrong because it's neutral. You don't have to worry about the natural characteristics of stone. You get a residential warranty with it. So there's a 10 to 15 year warranty on the product. For selling purposes, quartz is great because people want the clean, simple look right now, at least. But and try and stay away from the trendy, I guess, bold colors if you're trying to sell your house. Like navy cabinets are huge right now. They're great for people who want navy and love navy, but I would do it, but
Are they doing navy cabinets with navy countertops?
Navy
Holy moly.
That's a lot of blue.
Navy cabinets with brass hardware is huge right now, like brass and gold. It's basically like all the pink and blue tile from the 40s that you're ripping out in Royal Oak kitchens and bathrooms.
Wow. Talk to us a minute about the outdoor installations that you're doing, just to give us an idea of what maybe you guys are installing in new construction that's kind of trending out there.
So we do a lot of like outdoor grill areas where you'd have your inlaid grill and then you'd have your top to the left or right of it that you have like a metal cabinet maybe that won't wear to the weather. So it's not just like wood cabinets they're putting out there, but we put tops on those or like fire pit rings. If you build like a block, cinder block area or something like that, we do stuff like that. But a lot of people call us asking if we do brick pavers, which we don't do. So not so much floor application, but they call them lanais in the plans. So fancy.
Talk to us about any promotions you guys are offering right now at Hard Rock Stoneworks. You guys have grown exponentially over the last 5 years. And by the way, your choice shop is amazing.
Thank
what you've
you.
done to it, what you have in there for people to walk in and be able to visualize cabinets and countertops and different things. It's just amazing. But any special promotions going on right now at Hard Rock Stoneworks that somebody who's thinking about doing it can maybe look at?
Yeah, we're actually doing free countertops with kitchen cabinet purchase, which is amazing. It's like the best promotion we've ever run, and that's to promote the Troy showroom, which we've had since 2010, but we've recently redone it, so it looks a lot better than it used to. And then we're also doing a summer selection sale, which we're going to offer with the purchase of countertops, either a free sink, a free edge upgrade, or a free chip minimizer, which that's another thing that we do that a lot of companies don't do. So when you have like your flat polish edge, which is actually pretty popular right now, it's a simple basic edge. If you round it, which is what we call a waterfall edge, it prevents it from chipping because if you drop something on a rounded edge, it's not as hard or rigid as a flat edge. So we would actually do the waterfall edge on the inside of your sink cutout, and then we would warranty that for the time that you're in the home. If you were to drop a pan or hit a glass on it and chip it, with that edge on there, then you don't have to pay the service fee to come back out.
Those are great promotions.
Cool.
Holy cow.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Jeez, makes me want to get
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
cabinets.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Wow.
We're open Monday through Saturday. Saturdays from 9 to 5, which is huge because a lot of places aren't open that late. So we're open to the public, builders, contractors, designers, anybody who wants to come in.
Oh, that's great. And they don't need to talk to anybody in particular. Just come in.
Yep.
Okay.
I only saw the Macomb County facility. It was fantastic. It's
Sterling
really
Heights one, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, the showroom is really clean. Randy and Steve are the owners. They love to give back, so we do a lot of events. If you ever want to come in, even to any of our events, we're open to the public. So
Great.
Hey, we want to thank you for coming in today. Really appreciate your time. You guys do a great job out there. And if you're out there and you're thinking about maybe doing upgraded countertops, new countertops, cabinets, bathroom, kitchen, or maybe doing that outdoor grill, check out Hard Rock Stoneworks. They really do it right, and they'll take care of you. Thanks, Alyssa, for coming in today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for listening to Avoiding Real Estate Turbulence. If you'd be so kind as to subscribe, review, rate, we would appreciate it. Please share with your friends, family, and coworkers that they too can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify.